we did not account for that level of wind, and we were tethering it. So the balloon was just flopping around like the entire field. Like every time we let go, it would like come down and everyone was like prepared for it. You know, it would come down with its heavy payload and it would swing around. You know, it was like 3 feet off the ground. It would almost hit people. I mean, I remember being the one running after the balloon or the payloads trying to make sure it doesn't like nail anyone. And I would watch people like get on the ground and lay down flat waiting for it like to go overhead. Like, whoo, whoo.
Well, if you think about the universe and what it is made up of, we're all essentially created by stardust. You know, we have hydrogen and oxygen and carbon, and that all came from stars exploding and shooting out all these elements. So it's a part of our being, and therefore we should study it in order to learn more about ourselves and about why we are here in this universe.
Yeah, I saw that. We got to be ready to go. So make sure we're ready to go by then. You're just hanging. You're an important member of this team, right?
I heard about this project about 2 years ago, and I thought, initially, I thought I could do it with another adult and maybe 2 kids. I thought it'd be about four students. And as I started learning and hearing about what the scope and the sequence of trying to film the Eclipse from high altitude balloons and what that would take, I immediately reached out to other mentors and got the mentor list up to 4.
I've known Robert for a number of years as a result of us both being members of the local astronomy group and running meetings in the planetarium at Medford High School, and he just came along and said, I have this project, do you want to help me with it? And I said, sure. So here I am.
When they first asked me if I wanted to do this, and knowing me coming from like my astrophotography background and stuff, I thought this is going to be easy. You tie a string to a balloon with some helium in it, and you duct tape a camera on, and you launch it. It's no big deal, right? You're going to get some great pictures. Well, after 2 years, it was extremely complex. I couldn't have been in a better project. I want to do it. I want to do it again. It was that cool.
We called for talented sophomores, and 10 applied, and we interviewed all 10 of them. It was really kind of nervous feelings for the kids. They got dressed up and they all waited out in the hallway, and we called them in one at a time. And when it was over, it was real apparent they were all fantastic. Thank goodness for Colin and John and Sean. They basically said, let's take them all. Let's not cut 5 kids out of this program. Let's take them all. Let's have some redundancy. Everybody can have a partner. And that was one of the greatest things, to kind of build up this team and make it a big family almost.
The NASA High Altitude Balloon Project is a project that takes filming footage of the complete solar eclipse that will occur on August 21st from 100,000 feet and sending it live to NASA TV. For our side of the project, we are launching our own payload besides the NASA payload, and we're doing radiation testing, and we're also doing UV testing, and we're also documenting it ourselves. We found that our footage tends to be a bit better than some of NASA's footage. Not to brag or anything, but...
My job as part of the Ascent team is to use the helium tanks to fill the balloon and we coordinate a lot of the information from the tracking team with the predictions to get what the right ascent rate is and to get the right neck lift.
So we use a program online where we put in the balloon's mass, our ascent rate that we want, and it gives us an approximate path on that day. And as we come closer to our launch date, the predictions will become clearer.
I thought like tracking was going to be, a little easier. The balloon was going to be easy to find for some reason, but it's actually very hard. It flies a long way away, so I had to learn a lot about GPS tracking using spot trackers and TrackSoar. It's a lot of information to take in, but over the past year and a half, I've been able to pretty much dial it in.
So today, 2 days before the launch, we are basically testing out all the systems. Currently we're going to be testing out Eagle systems, which is the NASA systems. There has been a software update recently, and we want to make sure that the software update went smoothly and we know exactly what to do on Eclipse Day, or else that would turn out pretty horribly if we didn't know what we were doing.
So these are the straps that I spent 10 hours sewing at like the last minute.
So this is the Iridium. This is what we use to actually track the NASA payload, Eagle. This right here is an Arduino that's talking to the Iridium satellites, some of which SpaceX launched more of earlier this year, and that is fed to Montana State's website, and we get to track the balloon from there.
So this is the North Medford camera payload, also known as the tornado payload, and inside it we have the spot tracker and 3 GoPros. The one is facing on the bottom, and it captures the liftoff of the balloon, and because of these we get those beautiful pictures of the edge of space, and we'll hopefully get some really amazing pictures of the solar eclipse.
Over the past year and a half, we've had a ton of practice, so I mean, it's kind of just like another launch. I think
we're really prepared for this.
Honestly, I'm a little nervous, but I know everything will work out because we worked so hard on everything.
Get ready.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're off.
Do we know if any of theirs? Okay, so it looks like it's connected. The Earth is curved. That has been confirmed by this live video right here.
High-five, Sam.
Our balloon's up. We're streaming real-time video. I mean, we're doing everything correctly.
So the sun is being covered by the moon, and it's casting a shadow on the Earth. Brilliant.
So currently the payloads are ascending at a much greater rate.
Yeah, we wanted to go at
predicted.
7 meters per second, but now it's 10.
Yeah, so we're either going to get the eclipse right before burst or right during burst, which would be awesome. But we're gonna get it from, if we do, from like 100 to 110,000 feet. So,
And we're one of the only teams live streaming right now.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
This is an amazing achievement.
Whoa, look at Dina.
Oh!
See Regulus.
During totality, something hit me. I was not prepared. I expected to be a scientist the whole time, but as the light of the sun was completely covered and obscured by the moon, it's going to sound silly, but it reminded me of my wedding day and the beautiful ring I gave my wife, a rutilated cat's eye tourmaline that just shot fire and beautiful crystals. It was very incredibly romantic to be there with my wife. I just forgot all about the science. It was just 2 minutes of euphoria. This was an expedition. It wasn't a camping trip. It wasn't a lesson. This was a science expedition.
It's just something I'm never going to forget, this experience, and it's going to be something that I'll remember 50, 60 years from now.
Personally, I gained from this. I learned a lot about not only the programming and sensors and radiation, but Oregon. I went a lot of places I wouldn't have gone otherwise, and that was kind of cool. I got to see my own state a lot more, and I'll miss Colin. I love Colin.
I just first signed up for it because I was thinking, hey, this would be a great senior project, and I already like science and engineering, so why not? And now it's turned into one of the biggest things I've ever done, and it's changed what I think I'm going to do in the future.
Even if you don't like science, trying out astronomy or honors chemistry is worth it. I think you won't regret it. If you find out that you really don't like it, you won't regret it later on in life. You might find out that you do like it, like I did. It's actually really awesome. It's hard work, but it definitely pays off. People view you differently. The harder work that you put in and the more complicated things are in life, people really appreciate it, and I think you'll appreciate it as well.
It's important to get yourself out there, just to start doing something that you have interest in and then actually presenting a completed goal and getting aligned with those goals. Because if you don't do something like this, you're going to have a harder time later in life when you want to actually try and get a job or start a new project that you really want to work on. If you do projects like this, you're more likely to succeed in future projects as well.
What am I gonna miss about it? I think all the adventures we go on during retrieval I'll miss the most. It's so much fun to all plug in coordinates and go out and look for the payload. And sometimes we end up finding that someone plugged in the wrong coordinate, and we hike up a whole mountain to realize that it was right next to our car the whole time. So I'll miss retrieval, and I'll miss the people. I mean, we'll always have that bond of doing this project together, but it'll be kind of sad to not be able to spend every Thursday with them. We're like a family.
I think opportunity, you should never let go of an opportunity. I mean, sure, it'll be hard at first, and you'll feel like you should quit, and you might not be qualified enough, but then later on, you might enjoy the whole thing, and it's really worth it, just like this project. In the beginning, we're like, what is happening? I don't know anything what they're saying.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm so glad I made that decision.
Yeah.
I even applied on the last day. I was like, I shouldn't apply.
Yeah.
I won't make it.
And I think just even taking small opportunities, like joining a specific class, will present even bigger opportunities. Like I took honors chem, which led me to do this giant project, which leads me to present in a conference. So I think that any opportunity that presents itself, take it. It will be worth it.
It's been 2 years of work, and just seeing the reaction of the kids and the students to the work. You say to them, would you do this again, despite all the hours and all the challenges? And they said, we'd do it again in a heartbeat. And to me, That's what made it all worthwhile. That's why we do this.
To me, this whole experience has been, you know, a blending of emotion and science and hard work, you know, and staying with the project. And it couldn't be done without the other mentors. I got to tell you that if Colin or John or Sean dropped out of the program, we'd probably drop the whole program. We really couldn't do it. Those three guys and myself, I think if all four of us were a perfect team, I really don't think we could have pulled it off if we took any of them out of the equation. And that's the beauty of an expedition, is everybody's got their job. It's amazing, it really is amazing.
A part of the Heartisan team for about 8 or 9 months now, and one of the first projects that we worked on was with the North Medford High School, their Eclipse project with NASA. My dad used to take me stargazing, and he would teach me about the planets, and he would show me the constellations. So I've always had an interest in space. And so when I heard about this project that we were going to be doing, this film we were going to be shooting, I was really excited, and especially because it was one of the first projects that I ever worked on. I love working with the Heartisan team. I love all the team members. We just have a blast, especially shooting something that is so interesting and so fun. Where the North Medford High School team launched the payloads from was Dayville, Oregon, which is a little tiny town in eastern Oregon. Camping in Dayville with the Heartisan team and the North Medford High School team and the kids and the mentors was really a lot of fun. It felt like camping with friends and family, and I was really impressed with how well the kids executed setting up the payloads and then sending them up and then tracking them, and making sure that the live stream was working well.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at it.
But when we get closer to
all the kids on the Eclipse team are fun to work with. They're really smart. They're all really great. The day of the eclipse felt really surreal. We had been filming these kids and interviewing these kids for months beforehand, and finally the day of the eclipse was there and everyone was really busy. This was no longer a test launch, this was the actual thing, so if something went wrong, there's no fixing it. So the kids had a lot of pressure to get everything right the first time.
3, 2, 1.
Actually, seeing the eclipse and experiencing it was really amazing. How cold it got during the eclipse, and those 2 minutes when the sun was eclipsed and everyone was cheering and taking off their glasses and you could see the ring perfectly. I never could have imagined how neat it would be to actually see in person.
Okay guys, so now we're going to find these things.
Was it?
So after the eclipse, we had to go retrieve the payloads, and that often involves a lot of hiking. And so for the first retrieval, it was mostly flat, and so we did hike quite a ways to it, and then we hiked it back out. But the second retrieval was quite steep and apparently quite a hard hike. I didn't make it to that retrieval, but the payload got stuck in a tree, so they spent some time trying to get it out. They were thinking about trying to cut the tree down. They were getting huge logs to try to wrap around the payload and pull it down, and it was way too high for anyone to climb. And so it was definitely a process because they had to get those payloads back.
I had a little hatchet. Every idea sounded like a good idea. I came down and they're like, Sam, we need your slingshot. Just shoot it down.
Being able to tag along with the North Medford High School Eclipse team was really incredible, and being able to document their progress and their work through this. They've been working for 2 years on this project. I really loved being able to see the Eclipse and get to know the kids and the mentors.
One of the biggest challenges at the event was Sarah's armpits.
Yeah, you guys, what are your jobs? You guys just sit around and look pretty?
Now we do.
I'm so glad that I got to be a part of this journey with everyone.
Oh, wow. Oh, can't fly.
I do, yeah. I'm good right now, I appreciate it, thanks.
Victory! I thought for sure, like, someone was gonna snap their neck. I could, like, see that happen.